Welcome back to WordPress and BuddyPress Real World Project 2020. This is a series on building a real world project, and at this point we are going to cover the JavaScript-based filtering system of all the member items on the member index page. Let's check it out. Alright, so this is the member index page. As you can see, we have athletes of all different kinds of sporting events: baseball, basketball, football, etc. So let's demonstrate how this base filtering system works. Let's choose US football, and now, as you can see, only male and female football players are left. So now let's go with female. Now all the males are gone. At this point we can see some committed ones here, so we're going to choose only the available ones. As you can see, nothing but availables are here, and we also find that some 2021s are here, so let's filter that out. Focus on 2020. Now only 2020 are available. And also, if you look here, there are people from United Kingdom, United States, Canada, etc. So let's narrow that down to US. And at this point we can see the difference between verified and unverified, so let's pick only the verified person. So this is the base filter in action, and we can also always hit reset filter to get everything back. Now, before we take a deeper dive into the inner workings of this filtering system, let's take a simpler example of just three. For example, golf, and let's choose male and available, which narrowed it down to just one. So let's take this example to a diagram to explain the whole thing better before we look into the code. Okay, so this diagram shows the entire functionality at the back end of that search filtering system that we just showed. Let's start from the very bottom. What's happening is this member list is being created from a member loop generated by BuddyPress. While this loop is going on, I am collecting this extra information from BuddyPress extended profile, like the choice of sports that player has, like golf, his gender, his enrolled year, etc. And also information like his availability, verification, etc. are being collected from WordPress via ACF field, Advanced Custom Fields. So once those are collected, they are being added to each athlete item or member item via the member loop. And once they are collected here, their job is done. And then when the user chooses the sports, gender, or availability from those drop-down buttons, those buttons generate change events that via JavaScript. Once those events are generated, an algorithm is fired. And then basically that algorithm, what it's doing is collecting those classes and combining them into a specific string. And initially it's going out there and putting display none to every single item, so they all become invisible. And then the algorithm takes effect, and based on that string, based on those classes it collected, it goes out in there and removes the display none class from every single member item available. So as a result, only those member items become visible and the others remain invisible. This is pretty much the backend functionality details in short. Now let's go check out the code. Before we get deeper into the code, I just wanted to show you where this extra information, like the person's gender, the class, country of residence, verification, availability, etc. Where they're coming from the WordPress backend. Let's go there. Okay, here we find the users, and we're going to look into the regular profile and the extended profile. Under the regular profile, if we come down here, we find the verification information and the availability information. And from the extended profile, we find the athlete's choice of sports, gender, country of residence, enrollment year, etc. Now we're ready to analyze the code. Okay, so we're finally at the code level. This is the member index page. To locate it, we have to go to themes, the theme name, and under the theme name or folder, we have this BuddyPress folder where all the customization takes place. And this is the real location. And this is where we'll find all the items, all the sports, the gender, availability, etc. On a previous video, we showed why we have these options commented out for location and all sports, because they are actually coming from the database via Ajax. So for simplicity's sake, let's just pick this one to explain what's happening, because the JavaScript code is pretty much the same for every single select item. And here something to look at is this one right here, this ID. I use this ID to collect all this information and use them to use their values, these values, to filter out the member items. And to see the actual classes we talked about, we have to go into the member loop, which is right here. This is where this member item resides. All these variables are added here as classes, like the base ones are the sports, gender, availability, etc. And to isolate it, this is the class item entry ASM. So let's go to the HTML to find it. It is right here. And as you can see, all these, the US football, female, availability, verification, year, and even the sports specific ones that are used in the advanced filters are all here. Now let me show you where I'm collecting all this information, all the way up, right here. I'm using this xProfile get field data function to get the extended profile information from BuddyPress, and this get field function from ACF or advanced custom field to generate this verification and availability items. And here these are the sports specific items are being collected that we will use at the advanced filter level. For that, we will come back when we discuss the advanced filter. For now, we're sticking to these base ones. So based on these classes, our JavaScript algorithm will launch the filtering system. Now let's go check out the JavaScript. Okay, so this is the JavaScript for the class year select item. This ID that I showed here, right here, this ID. And right here, it shows the enrollment year that it collects from the BuddyPress extended profile, adding as a class. So at the very beginning, we see we are extending a parent class. Here's some ES6 object orientation going on, some inheritance. This is the class dedicated for every single select item. As you can see, the gender, location, sports, they're all extending this class. There's not much really going on here. This is the class. Basically, a whole bunch of common functions I'm declaring here, like reset filter, opening up the advanced filter button, etc. So not much really going on. So let's dive deeper into this select filter. So at the very beginning, I'm collecting the drop-down select item and putting it in this variable and then setting this event. And this event is a change event because this is a select drop-down. As you can see here, class year 2020, this change event is launching that algorithm. So this change handler is basically what it's doing. It's collecting the values that are chosen from all the others, and just in this case the class year, I'm using this because this is the one being selected, and also the overall item I'm putting into this item. Item means basically this whole box, so that I can add or remove my display none class. This is the dNone class. It's basically same as display none, but this is a Bootstrap class. I'm using Bootstrap 4 in this project. So at the very beginning, I'm checking for the all value, which is basically this, when nothing is chosen. So anytime the all value is found, I'm removing the dNone class or display none class and making everything visible and resetting it. And this is pretty much the same principle behind the reset filter button, like this. Let's say it's 2020, but anytime we choose to go back, it refreshes the whole thing. Again, if we choose golf or whatever and then reset filter, it goes out there and resets everything based on this all value. And once again, if we go back here, we see the default value is all, where nothing is chosen. And as you can see here from super, which is this parent class, I'm actually calling this reset filter, and that's where this inheritance is coming in handy. And only reason I'm using this set timeout function is just to create a gap between when something is chosen, every item gets a dNone class, and within fraction of a second it's also removed, so that everything bounces back. And that bouncing happens also because of this class right here, this animated and bounce in. These are actually the classes from a framework called animate.css. We can find it here, right here. Recently they have changed and upgraded their version. I mean, the one I'm using is an older version. So this is what's causing that bouncing effect. And then right after we check out a reset, or when it is not chosen and the all value is chosen, I'm resetting it, but otherwise collecting every other select value here, making sure they're not chosen, they don't have the all value, and I'm adding them with this AND logic, and that's what causing that filtering function. Because see, if we reset, we choose golf, and then when we choose male, it's an AND, golf and male, and then available, and once we collect that information, pretty much once again I'm adding the dNone or display none class to every single item, and within fraction later, this is where I'm collecting all the other class values collected from here using a I'm concatenating everything into one string, and whichever does not have that, I'm leaving them with their dNone class or display none, but whichever has this big string available, after concatenating all these class values here, let's say they have golf chosen here, gender as male, and available, all these three strings are available. So I'm concatenating and matching with this value. And if they match, I'm removing the display none class. And this is the same thing, just the combination of all these classes goes on and on and on. This was the first time I was doing it. I was figuring it out. So I've done it manually, but you will see at the advanced filter level, I use actually a mathematical algorithm, and I take this entire function, isolate it, and basically I restructure my codes much better way. I have improved upon it significantly at the advanced filter level, which is coming up next. Thanks for watching.